as we know that nowadays life became internet and internet became life. So a funny meme is that there is life without internet is possible or not. So the funny meme is saying that there is life without Facebook and internet. Oh really? Then just send me the link. So this attraction towards the internet has created some kind of situation like this. So an IDC survey, International Data Corporation survey says that the data size on internet has reached up to 40 zettabytes. Here, 1 zettabyte, that means 10 raised to 21 bytes. So we can see that humongous data is there on internet. So generally, what companies will do, company for managing this kind of humongous data, companies will simply choose the cloud as a storage as a service model. So uh, as cloud storage services become popular, the same situation comes means to the cloud also. So we already know that what are the benefits of cloud, that it is easy to uh, save the files, it is easy to access the files from any device anywhere at any time, easy to share the files also. uh, my presentation is not visible, sir.
Yes, sir, it is visible, but participant may rejoin if the screen is not visible.
Okay, okay. So the same situation came in the cloud also. Means humongous data is there on cloud also, an explosive growth in the data size, data volume on the cloud. Cisco cloud index has studied that thing, and it is showing that the data volume on the cloud has reached up to 19.5 zettabyte in 2020. And MIT has also pointed out this important issue in 2020's technical review. They are saying that we are going to need better storage, processing, and privacy. So means as we can see that if data is humongous, means data is quite large, then first thing is that storage issues are there, storage costs are increasing, processing costs are there, processing issues are there, and thirdly privacy is also the major issue for that. Now as we know that if our data is quite large, if our data is quite humongous, then that cloud servers needs to keep their server on and on to first storage, maintain, and process. uh, a real new अभी का feature है, the feature is in WhatsApp, that in the groups you can switch on the automatic delete option, which will delete all kind of data in the 7 days. So to maintain this data, the cloud servers needs to work more and more. Now cloud server needs to work more and more. That will affect climate also. How it will affect the climate, let's see. I mean, some of blogs are saying that thing. So the data centers are environment unfriendly or not? So computer world, a computer world is blog is saying, an article is saying that 40% of total energy that data center consumes goes to cooling equipment, cooling IT equipment. That means servers are working, so cooling facilities are to be there, and they are consuming 40% of total energy. And to reduce the electricity costs, the big names like Facebook and Google and all kind of things are moving their data centers to cool areas of the earth. So as we can see that here, 2016, 28th September, Mark Zuckerberg has posted some rare pictures of Facebook data centers. So these data centers are moved towards the northern part of Sweden, which is the very cooler part of the earth. So it will decrease the electricity cost. but still it is increasing the global temperature. So that is the thing. So here it means it is indirectly or directly affecting the climate change conditions. One more article is that it is saying that uh, watching Netflix is bad or not. Means the first line we can see that in 2018 data centers 40 means 400 terabyte watt per hour, terawatt per hours of electricity are consumed by data centers. So there is very big amount for us. One more article is saying that the rise of means the data centers are playing a major role in rise of global temperatures. So there are plenty of things are advocating this thing that cloud storage servers and data center data storage servers are playing a role in climate change. So of course one more thing, Microsoft has found solution for that, and they have kept these data centers inside this ocean. So underwater data centers are there, but after all it is increasing the temperature uh, of the earth, of the global. So the Bahubali question comes here, that how we can give efficient storage and efficient communication cost and less processing at the cloud storage side. So whenever we are having a huge data, humongous data, the simple naive solution comes in our mind is that compress the data, reduce the size of data. अगर डेटा ही कम होगा तो उसका प्रोसेसिंग और स्टोरेज कॉस्ट भी अपने आप कम हो जाएगा. That is the solution comes in our mind. So what are the data compression techniques available for us? Lossless and lossy data compression techniques are available. So as we know that lossy data compression techniques are irreversible techniques, and they are majorly used for multimedia files. And in terms of lossless data compression techniques, they are completely reversible techniques. Initially, it was started with statistical model-based coding, which are working at byte level. That means you are compressing your data at the byte level. Examples are Huffman coding, arithmetic coding, and range coding. We already have idea about what is Huffman coding and all, but gradually data size has grown. So as data size has grown, data compression techniques are moved from this byte level to string level. So those string level data compression techniques are known as dictionary model based coding, which will find out the redundancy at the string level and compress the data at the string level. So LZ77, LZ78, LZMA, LZW, LZO, these were the string level compression techniques. But still, data was continuously growing. So now this data compression techniques have moved to intelligent, or we can say that smart compression technique, that is called deduplication, which works at file or subfile level. So in this way, this deduplication comes in the picture to compress the data as well as to reduce the storage and storage cost as well as processing cost for the cloud storage services. So what is deduplication basically? Deduplication is a data compression technique that eliminates storing the duplicate copies of the same data. And empirical studies by Microsoft is saying that deduplication can reduce up to 90 to 95% of storage cost. And reduplication ratio is the equation is like that: 1 minus 1 divided by space reduction ratio, where space reduction ratio is number of input bytes divided by number of output bytes. So here let's see how a picture of deduplication. Let's see how it works. So for example, Bob is having some file. So first he will compute some tag of that file and sends it to the storage server. Storage server will check this file is available at my place or not. Here the file is uploaded at the first time, so we will call that this thing as a first upload. So here storage server will say that I don't have the file. So now Bob will upload the file, and storage server will simply store that file into the physical storage. Now Alice comes with the same file. Here she will first compute some tag of that file and sends it to the storage server. Now storage server again checks this file is available at my end or not. Here it is already available at the storage server end. So what storage server will do? Storage server does not ask Alice to upload the file, and it will simply give the access to the already stored file. So in this way, as we can see that communication cost to upload the file is reduced. Secondly, if deduplication was not there, then Alice and Bob, the file of both these users are to be stored. But here deduplication will reduce the storage cost by eliminating the storage redundant storage, or we can say that storage of redundant data. In this way, it will decrease the storage and communication cost for cloud storage services. Now, let's move the deduplication process. Let's understand what is deduplication process. The first step of deduplication process is generate chunks. So generate chunks, that means a file is there as an input to the deduplication process. So these chunks can be either complete file as a chunk, or this fixed size chunks are there, or it can be split into variable size chunks. Next is compute the tags. So generally tags are computed using cryptographic hash functions, which are considered as a collision resistant hash functions. Some of the hash functions you already are aware. It is MD5 SHA1, SHA256, and SHA512. Now, after computing these tags of each chunk, further compression may be applied by uh, uh, cloud storage server. This is an optional step, we can say. A cloud storage server may go with this thing or may avoid this thing. Then it will go to the fourth step, which is storage management. Now cloud server will store the chunks which are received. If it is we can say if it is unique, then cloud server will store that thing, as well as some metadata like keys and who are the users, and if file is split into the number of chunks, then which chunk is related to which file. This kind of metadata is also stored at the storage server side. So this is the fourth step of deduplication, that is saying that storage management, which is divided into chunks and metadata storage. Now deduplication, whenever we are talking the word deduplication, it can be viewed in three ways. First is that granularity, second is location, and third is scope. So if we are talking about granularity, it defines the unit of deduplication. That means at which level we are going to apply deduplication. So first is that file level deduplication, and second is block level, chunk level deduplication. So here, if we say the what is file level deduplication, then it is whole file is considered as a deduplication unit. That means during the upload time, storage server will scan the uh, physical storage file by file. If the received file is already present at the server side, then server will not restore that copy 2 of that file. If we say next is block level deduplication, where when storage server will receive any file, that file is split into chunks, number of chunks, that means blocks of file, and these blocks of files are considered as a deduplication tag. Here, here we can see that deduplication ratio we can gain more, because it may possible that a file is having two blocks, block 1 and block 2. but block 2 is different than block 1. Block 2 is different. Means we can say that two versions of file f1 and f2 are there, where block 1 is same but block 2 is different. So in file level deduplication, both versions are to be stored, but in terms of block level, if we say f1 is there, then block 1 of f1 is stored, block 2 of f2 is block 2 of f1 is stored, and block 3 so again block 2 of f2 is stored. So here we can see that uh, uh, if single block is changed, then complete file is changed. In this case, file level deduplication will not be able to identify this kind of things, but block level deduplication can. However, this block level deduplication is also having some side effects like additional overhead of fragmentation. First, uh, we need to give resources to fragment the files. Second is processing the files, processing these chunks. Like for retrieving the file, it is required to process on chunks. And third is metadata size. Each block is having its own metadata. So after all, it is increasing the overhead of fragmentation, processing, and metadata size. Next is location. Now, deduplication can be applied at client side, gateway side, or server side. If we say it is applied at client side, or it is called as source-based deduplication also, where deduplication tag is computed at the client side, and client will send this deduplication tag to the server. Server will check this tag is available on the storage or not. If tag is not available, then only server will ask the client to upload the file. In terms of gateway and server, client will always send the file to the gateway and server or gateway will check this received file is present on the storage or not as a background process. So in this way, a client always needs to upload the file. This always needs to upload the file will increase the communication cost. So that's why client side deduplication is better than this gateway and server side deduplication. Third view of deduplication is scope, which is intra user or inter user. Deduplication can be applied at intra user, that means data of particular user only. Inter user, that means cross user deduplication. So in our talk, we are focusing on file level, client side, intra user, inter user deduplication. So after all, what are the benefits of deduplication? Why we are talking about deduplication? So first, as we have seen, deduplication will reduce the storage cost. It will minimize the communication cost during the data upload process, because if data is already present, no need to upload the data again. It will reduce communication cost during data replication process. Improve disaster recovery, because whenever any disaster is happening, less data volume is to be recovered, because deduplication is after all compressing or reducing the data volume. Last but not the least, minimize the electricity cost to maintain the tape drives, which are continuously working to store, maintain, and process the data. So it will of course reduce the electricity cost to maintain this data. So these are the benefits of deduplication. So if anyone is having a question, we can take, because we are moving towards the next part of the presentation. If anyone is having any question, then he or she can share that query or question or any innovative idea. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now, we already talked how we can make the cloud storage efficient. Now we are going to talk about security of the cloud storage services. So basically, we are talking about deduplication. So we will focus on those security aspects which are concerned with this deduplication keyword. So first is confidentiality, which is ensuring that malicious clients as well as untrusted cloud service providers should not be able to learn anything from outsourced data. Second is proof of ownership, which is ensuring the ownership authenticity of outsourced data in the cloud. We will see each topic in detail. So I'm just giving a brief about each topic. And third is traffic obfuscation, that is protecting the storage server from side channel information leakage issues. So we will start with the confidentiality. So whenever we think about confidentiality, first keyword comes in our mind is that encryption. If a user wants his data to be confidential, then he or she will encrypt the data before uploading, because we are considering that cloud storage server is an untrusted or semi-trusted entity, which will perform all requested operations honestly on the data, but that cloud server is interested in learning the data what Alice and Bob or whatever any users are trying to store. So to maintain the confidentiality, to assure the confidentiality of data, generally users will encrypt the data before uploading. But however, the conventional encryption mechanisms are at odds with deduplication. They are contrasting with deduplication. How? Let's see. For example, Alice and Bob are having same files. Now let's start with Bob first. Bob will first encrypt the file using his key, and he will upload the ciphertext to the storage server. Storage server is not having that file. It is because we are considering it is the first upload. So storage server will store that version of file. Now Alice is having same file, but Alice does not know what is Bob's key, because Bob is using his private key. So Alice will simply use her private key to encrypt the file, and she will encrypt the ciphertext version of his private means computed using her private key, and she will upload that thing. Now here question comes to the storage server. Since since encryption keys are different, ciphertext of both encryption will be different. So that's why first question for the storage server is that how storage server will be able to know that received ciphertext are having same plaintext, because deduplication is a game to find out the redundancy in the received data and avoid redundant data storage. But here data is same, but the received data, which is ciphertext, are different. So how this storage server will be able to know that this ciphertext are concerned with the same plaintext? And second thing is that, for example, let's assume that the storage server will be able to know that this two ciphertexts are having same plaintext. Then which ciphertext is to be stored and which is not? Because Bob does not know Alice private key, and Alice does not know Bob's private key. So if one of the ciphertext version is stored, then how this Alice and Bob are able to access this stored ciphertext? So that is the question for us. So in this way, this conventional encryption mechanisms, just not traditional encryption mechanisms, contrast with deduplication. So we need to have some kind of encryption mechanisms which will allow deduplication also, and it will achieve confidentiality also. So in 2013, Yes, in 2013, a concept called message locked encryption was introduced, where key is generated from the file, which is typically hash of file, and this encryption key is used to encrypt the file before uploading to the storage server. So here again, think about that scenario where Bob and Alice are having same file. So here Bob is having the file. He will encrypt the file using hash of the file, and he will upload the ciphertext to the storage server, and storage server will simply store that thing. Now Alice is having same file. If means, as we all know that hash functions are deterministic functions. That means whatever you are going in input, if these input is same, then output will be same. So here if Alice is inputting same file, then that encryption key, which is output of hash function, is also same. So that's why Alice will achieve the same ciphertext using the same encryption key, because she is having the same file, and she will upload that file to the storage server. Storage server will say that this file is already available, no need to store that file again, and she will get access to the file. So in this way, we are getting confidentiality along with deduplication. But again, there is a scope of research here also. For example, a malicious entity called Tom here. What Tom will do, Tom may know something about the file, some particular file we are talking about. Some that Tom is aware about some portion of file or some partial file, and what he will do, he will try to guess the remaining portion. For example, file uh, file F is there, and F1 and F2 are, F1 is known portion to the Tom, and F2 is unknown portion to the Tom. So what he will do, he will guess the remaining portion, that is F2. So for example, let's say a salary slip is there, and I want to know that what is the salary of Alice. So I am aware about what is the template of the salary slip, but I am not aware about Alice's salary. So what I will do, I will start guessing this part. So first I will say that 10 means the 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. I mean, the guessing part is also limited, because I know that the salary of Alice will be from this amount to this amount only. So what I will do, means as a Tom, what I will do, I will start guessing that part, and I will find. What I will do, I will compute I will construct these predicted versions of the file. So F1, F2, F3 up to Fn, and F1, F2 up to Fn are also, we can say, are also limited. Means they are not infinite, because I know that what is the possible salary of Alice. So in the same way, this Tom will do this same procedure to guess the remaining portion and compute the predicted version of the file. So he will just combine these things, and these combined things, and what is the encryption key for that hash of the file. So it is also a lightweight function. So for each predicted version, Tom will encrypt that file and check this file is available or not, this version is available or not, this version is available or not. At one point of time, Tom will be able to find out this version is available. If server is saying that this version is available, that means his guesswork is correct. He means his predicted version is correct. So bingo, he will get to know that what is the file in a finite number of guess. So it is called dictionary attack, where we are constructing some dictionary of some particular file by guessing possible finite number of predicted versions of the file. So here, since it is deterministic function, it is easy to execute this dictionary attack. So to protect this thing, means how dictionary attack can be possible. First is offline dictionary attack. Means Tom can be either malicious storage server, or it can be a malicious client also. So if we think in terms of offline dictionary attack, the malicious storage server who is having infinite access to outsourced files of client can carry out this offline dictionary attack. What it will do? It will simply having some certain knowledge about some plain text file, and malicious server will construct the predicted versions of the file and simply encrypt the file using this hash of the file, which is a message locked key, and it will check which of the predicted and which of the encrypted version is matching with the stored ciphertext. So in this activity this activity may have finite number of attempts because guesswork is finite, and in the finite number of attempts, this malicious storage server will be able to find out that this guess version of file is correct. In the same way, online dictionary attack is also possible, where malicious client is having some file. He is having some knowledge about file, and he will again construct the predicted versions of the file, encrypt the file, and compute deduplication tag. Now, what he will do, that malicious client will upload this predicted deduplication tag one by one, and one of the tag for one of the tag, the server will say that this file is available. That means that predicted version is correct. So in this way, the dictionary attack can be possible with finite number of attempts in message blocked encryption. So whenever we are talking about deterministic encryption mechanism, which is having this kind of issue, so what is the solution for us? The solution for us is randomized encryption mechanism. In 2013, International Conference on Information Systems and Security, Systems Security of Springer, we have published a paper called Secure Random Encryption for Deduplicated Storage. So we are using a randomized encryption approach in this solution. So let's see what it will do. Again, same scenario. Bob and Alice are having same file. Bob will encrypt the file using some. First, Bob will send this tag, which is hash of file. Server will say this file is not available because it is first upload. Now, what Bob will do? Bob will compute the file using a random key and encrypt that random key using the some knowledge about the file. We will see in the next slide how this key is encrypted. And Bob will store both the things, encrypted file which is encrypted using random key, and encrypted random key which is encrypted using some knowledge about the file. Storage server will store both the things to the physical storage. Now Alice comes with the same deduplication tag, but here file is already available. So what storage server will do? Storage server will retrieve the ciphertext of file and give it to the Alice. Now Alice is if Alice is having the file, then only she will able to decrypt this ciphertext of this key and get to know that after all, the encryption key is to be known to the Alice. So how this key is to be encrypted? A file is split into blocks. For example, a file is split into 512 blocks, which is number of blocks, you can say. And these blocks are set into a matrix, which is n cross n matrix. And each tuple or each row of the matrix is considered as a input to a hash function. So as we can see here, B1, B2 up to Bn are computed for n number of rows of the matrix, and this B1, B2 up to Bn are input to the XOR function, and we can see that CK, which is ciphertext of random key, is equal to random key XOR B1 XOR B2 XOR Bn. So here, as I have told you, that Alice is able to decrypt the file only if she is having the file, because here, to decrypt the file, to decrypt the key, she requires B1 B2 up to Bn, and B1 B2 up to Bn are to be computed only if she is having the file. So we can see that CK is to be encrypted using CK XOR B1 XOR B2 XOR up to Bn, which will be RK. So in this way, she is able to retrieve the random key which is used by Bob. So in this way, offline dictionary attack issue is solved. How we because a random key is used to encrypt the file, and in offline dictionary attack, what is the method? The method is to compute the encryption keys for each predicted version, and using that encryption keys, the malicious storage server is trying to create the ciphertext versions of the predicted plaintext version. But here we are using means a random key, so that malicious storage server, which is adversary for us, cannot guess the random key with non-negligible probability, because it is computed using a secure pseudorandom function. So hence we can see that an adversary is not able to compute the ciphertext versions and identify the correct version of the file, the target file. So in this way, we can say that offline dictionary attack is secure. So number of attempts to guess the unknown blocks are, means for example, x percentage of file is known to adversary. Let's assume that x percentage of file is known to adversary, and p is winning probability of the adversary. And we assume that t number of attempts are required to guess an unknown block, and let's number of attempts to guess unknown blocks are, if x percentage of blocks are known, then we can say that 100 minus x divided by 100 into m is a file, is unknown blocks. So we can see in this equation, 100 minus x divided by 100 into m file is unknown blocks. Now for each block, the probability of winning is p. So 1 minus p is unknown, means that 1 minus p times adversary will lose. It will be 1 minus p, and what is t? T is number of blocks to guess unknown blocks. So it will be 100 minus x divided by 100 into m file into 1 minus p into t. Now for each attempt, we are computing hash operation. So it will be 100 minus x into m file into 1 minus p t into n, where n is number of hash values to be computed during encryption of key. जैसे हमने यहाँ पे देखा कि n number of hash functions are to be computed. So here we can say that it is 100 minus x divided by 100 into m file into 1 minus p t into n. So it was published in 2017, and in this paper we have focused on solving the problem of offline dictionary attack. However, we have found some limitations in this our proposed approach, and we have improved that thing in next approach. So first, what are the limitations? Let's discuss. First is that online dictionary attack using predicted versions of file is possible. How? Because deduplication tags can be computed at the adversary, means at the malicious client side, because computing deduplication tags does not need any information about random key. So what adversary will do? Adversary will simply compute the deduplication tags, which are hash of the file. So it will compute the deduplication tags for each versions, and it will upload that version, that deduplication tags one by one, and identifies the version which is causing deduplication. So simply online dictionary is possible. Secondly, XOR function is used. XOR operation is having own limitation. XOR operation will remove the redundant data itself. Means, for example, adversary is having unknown portion 100 minus x of file blocks, and if number of means this 100 minus x percentage of unknown portion is having a, we can say that it is having redundant data, then this redundant data is simply deleted at deleted at XOR operation point. So in this way, the the strength of the security strength of the ciphertext of encryption key is decreased because of a limitation of this XOR operation, because it is cancelling identical values itself. So to solve these two things, we have published one more paper in 2020, which is Spark Secure Pseudonym Key-Based Encryption for Deduplicated Storage, which was published in Computer Communications Elsewhere, which is an HCI journal. So what it will do? If anyone is having any question, then please let me know. Then we will move to the Spark.
Okay, anyone? Any participant having any questions? You can put into chat box or you can ask directly if you have any questions. Raise your hand and ask the questions. Okay, I think so. No questions till now.
Okay.
So you can move further. If there are some questions, then you can put into chat box. Participants are requested to put them into chat box.
Okay. So let's continue with this solution called Spark. So in the first upload, what client will do? Client will simply first compute deduplication tag, which is here we are, as we have seen in the last slide, that online dictionary attack is possible using deduplication tags. So here we are playing a different role of deduplication. What it will do? We first client will extract t number of bits from the deduplication, t number of bits from the hash value. How it will work? Deduplication tag is previously deduplication tag was hash of the file, which is collision resistant. That means each version of each predicted version is having a unique deduplication tag. But in this case, it is not collision resistant because we are considering only t bits in place of 256 or whatever number of bits. We are considering less than 256 bits. That means it becomes collision. It is having, it may have collision. That's why this adversary adversary will get confused because single deduplication tag is connected with multiple files. So we will discuss that thing in next slides also. So first it will compute deduplication tag and it will send to the storage server. Storage server will check the existence of deduplication tag. Here it is first upload, so deduplication tag is not present, and it will say no. Now client side client will compute a random seed value, which is used to generate the key. How it is used, we will see in the next slide how key generation will work. So he will client will generate the key using file and seed value and compute the ciphertext of file using this key, and it will also compute the file tag, which is hash of the ciphertext. The client will upload deduplication tag, file tag, and ciphertext of file, and client will keep the encryption key secret at his or her end. Storage server will simply store that file. First, it will check that integrity of the file. If integrity of file is fine, then it will store that file and keep it makes an owners list, which is we can say owners of deduplication tag comma file tag, which is an we can say it is an array of owners which are connected with deduplication tag and file tag. How keys are to be as I said that key generation mechanism is having two things, read and file. So what it will do, जैसे हमने पहले देखा कि b1 to bn are the hash values computed from the file. Here we are replacing this XOR function which is having some limitations. We are replacing that thing with PRG, a secure pseudo random function, and we are inputting some seed value to that function, and this mechanism will output something called key, which is an pseudo random value generated using this pseudo random generators. So here, as we can see that you with help of this file, which is having b1 to bn, and it is having some seed value. So with help of seed value and file, we are getting some pseudo random value, which is considered as a key for us. And at the time of subsequent upload, initial uploader is have used some seed value. So this client subsequent uploader is also required to know this seed value. So for that, first it will simply, as previously, it will compute the deduplication tag and sends it to the storage server. Storage servers will check the existence of file. Here, deduplication tag is present. So since deduplication tag is present, server will say yes, this tag is present and ask this client to communicate with the owners which are having deduplication tag. So here you can see that seed value is learned from this previous owners. So just seed value is to be learned from previous owners, and it will generate the key using the seed value and file. That means here we can see what is to be known from the others, only seed value. We are not asking anyone to give the keys. We are only asking for seed value. And here, as we can see in this, as we can see here, seed value and file, both things are required. So if you are having seed value and you are not having file, you are not able to compute the key. So here the same thing is there. If you are having a file and if you are having the seed value, then only you are able to compute the key as shown in step number 6. And using that key, client will compute the encryption. Client will compute the ciphertext and send the file deduplication tag, deduplication tag and file tag to the server. And server will check this file is this combination of deduplication tag and file tag is same or not. Means consistent or not. If it is consistent, then server will allow the client to access the file. Here, learn key is having some means steps of operations. First is that client will compute with another client. I think it is having some problem. So client will compute with another client in place of storage server. So it will first compute this random value r. Using this random value r and hash of file, it will communicate with the existing owner of the file, and it will that existing owner will check that hash of file is correct or not. If hash of file is correct, then it will provide the seed value to the client in the encrypted format. This encryption is done by public key cryptography. Here, this existing client will decrypt the key, decrypt the seed value using his secret key, and in this way, he or she is able to get the seed value of the file of the key. So here, client and server both are considered as a untrusted party for us. And how we are means first our first focus was on offline dictionary attack. So for that we are encrypting the file using a random key. So that's why random key is used. So ciphertext of predicted versions cannot be computed at malicious server side because it means that that malicious server is unable to guess the random key. So that's why on offline dictionary attack is means we are protecting our system from offline dictionary attack. Secondly, we are using this PRG function, pseudonym function. So that's why the key generation mechanism which is generated. This is combination of pseudonym generators is to be secure. So we have proved cryptographically that if PRG is secure, if PRG is a secure pseudonym generator, then this key gen, which is key generation mechanism, which is combination of pseudonym generators, is also a secure pseudonym generator. So I'm due to lack of time, I'm skipping this part. Secondly, we have proved using a cryptographic proofs that if key generation mechanism is secure, then our Spark is also secure against online and offline dictionary attacks. So for that, we have used a contradiction proof of you used the method of contrapositive method to prove this theorem. So I'm again skipping this part. You may get this information from our paper also. So here, deduplication. Initially, I have talked that deduplication tag is playing a role to perform online dictionary attack. So if deduplication tag means if deduplication tag is generated using a collision resistant hash function, then each file is having a single unique deduplication tag because it is collision resistant hash functions used. So if it is there, then u is equal to v, where u is number of files and v is number of deduplication tags. So here it will be u equal to v, but in terms of trimmed hash value, because we are using trimmed hash value, which we are considering first 3 bits of the hash value as a reduplication tag. So v is not equal to u, v is less than u. So if v is less than u, then how much less it is? It is v is equal to u divided by b minus t, where b is the size of hash value and t is the uh, first trimmed hash value. We can say first 3 bits of hash file. So in this way, if v is less than u, number of files are connected with same deduplication tag. As a result, adversary is not able to get that this predicted version is having this deduplication tag and this deduplication tag is correct. So in this way, we are protecting our system against online dictionary attack using deduplication tags using this trimmed hash values. Here we have proved this thing again.
Okay, hello, sir.
Yes.
There is some question. Any participant want to ask the question? Please, you can ask directly.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Uh, we are talking about the theoretical proofs which are proved in on a formal manner, fine, in your research.
Yes.
We have a lot of cloud service providers like Google or Dropbox, to name a few. So, how are the commercial cloud providers? I mean, are there any ways for us to know whether the data that we have, what kind of deduplication techniques are they deploying, or what are the kind of security features? Are we secure enough against the deduplication techniques that they are using? I mean, can you throw some light on that?
Yes, sir. First of all, that these names like Google Drives and OneDrive and Dropbox and all these things, they're not revealing anything about this duplication procedure or any kind of procedure from their side. But we have executed some operation. So what we have done, we have prepared some Google Drive accounts, and we have observed that how deduplication is happening. So we have found that they are having, means they are focusing on trade-off between deduplication and upload time, deduplication and process time. So what they are doing, we have observed that if there's a finding operation, that means, as we can say, let me show you that thing. Step number 3. If step number 3 is taking more time than some threshold, then Google Drive and OneDrive is simply saying, it means we have observed that it is simply denying this deduplication, and it will ask the client to upload the file. But Dropbox, in terms of Dropbox, we have found that it will, of course, it will upload, means it will execute deduplication, even if this step number 3 is taking much more time. So means how we have executed this experiment, we have used Wireshark for that, and what we have done, we have observed the traffic from our side to a Google Drive. So if I am uploading 1 GB of file, and this traffic is sending only 400 bytes or 400 MB, or means lesser than 1 GB. So that shows that deduplication is happening. Means client, this Google Drive is saying that this file is already available, no need to store the file. If it is around, means this traffic is around 1 GB, uploading is around 1 GB, then it is saying that deduplication is not happening. It is up, means file is completely uploaded. So in this way, we have found that Google Drive and OneDrive are having trade-off between this step number 3 and deduplication. And secondly, if we say in terms of encryption mechanisms, encryption mechanisms are means I have read somewhere that encryption mechanism is using combination of file and your password. So that's why I think in 2014, Dropbox has faced some issue regarding this encryption mechanism, where this encryption keys, we can say passwords, are stored in some cache memory, and some adversary was get entered to the cache and that he or she is able to find out what are the passwords, and he has get access to the Dropbox, multiple accounts of the Dropbox. But unfortunately, this whole activity is only this whole activity was considered by some executed by some researcher as a project, but unfortunately this project has removed due to some legal activities from this Dropbox. And some paper is there. I will share that name also with participants, that the paper is having this information that is saying that Dropbox has faced this kind of issues. So
Okay.
yes, so deduplication is of course there, and deduplication, I mean, some trade-off between step number 3 and deduplication is to be there in realistic scenario.
Okay, so what do they prefer more? I mean, commercial with commercial aspect, what is the preference, or the preference changes depending on the commercial service provider? say if you consider Amazon, or if you, because everybody's into cloud, right? EMC, Amazon, Microsoft, because we are going to this pay as you go model. So the trade-off that you specified, are they similar in most of the service providers, or the one that you tested?
I can say that I have tested Google Drive. I have tested Google Drive, OneDrive, and Dropbox, and I have found that Google Drive and OneDrive is following this procedure. Means they are focusing on processing time also. That means step 3, that is checking deduplication tags.
Attack the content. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Is it possible for us to use some issues, loopholes in the deduplication itself, and attack the cloud service provider to gain access to data?
Means there are multiple ways to attack this. We can say that using deduplication, we can perform attack.
So I mean, has it been reported somewhere that the deduplication technique itself can be somewhere, some part of the technique wherein there are some issues, it is attacked, and then the content over the cloud is accessed? Is it possible to do that?
We can say that that 2014 paper is based on this deduplication attack, where due to this small piece of information, access to the complete file is shared. So it was there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
If anyone is having any question, then please raise the question.
I have, sir, there is one question in the chat box. I'm reading that. What are the attack surface in cloud services, and at what level it cause damage if any attack vector will success to enter in it? This question is in the chat box from FTB22 participant.
So here we are considering at application level of means cloud services. We are focusing on application level, and if here the issue is that if means whenever we are applying deduplication, and if any attack happens on some file, then it will simply, as the question has mentioned, that it will cause damage means quite larger than normal thing. So that's why means is managing security issues in deduplication is more important, because deduplication will give access of single file to multiple entities or multiple users. So that's why it is important for us to focus on this encryption mechanisms and proof of ownership and traffic obfuscation issues. And if we say in realistic scenario, green cloud computing is very much in picture nowadays. Green cloud computing is trying to decrease the energy requirement at the cloud server side or data center side. So of course deduplication will be playing a major role in near future for us.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I think there are no further questions. You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so as we have seen, as deduplication tags are playing also, they are playing a major role in online dictionary attacks. So we have focused that thing also. And we have seen if a tag inconsistency anomaly is also there when random encryption is used, because file is encrypted using a random key. So that's why deduplication tag, which is generated from plain text, and ciphertext is quite different than this. So the storage server will not be able to identify the consistency or inconsistency between them. Initially, file means deduplication tag is hash of ciphertext, but in this case, deduplication tag is not hash of ciphertext. It is hash of plain text, and server is not aware about this plain text. So it may possible that ciphertext is somewhat different and plain text is different, and malicious server has uploaded this incorrect combination of deduplication tag and ciphertext. So it is important for us to focus on tag inconsistency anomaly. So for that, we have used the approach called file tag, which is hash of ciphertext, along with the duplication tag. So for that, we are using we are storing deduplication tag as well as file tag of particular file. So suppose an adversary is trying to upload a file P, deduplication file of file P use with ciphertext of file Q. Now here deduplication tag of file P is file tag of file Q and file P are quite different because both are generated from ciphertext and both files are different. So ciphertext will be file text will be different. So in this way, server will be able to identify that this combination is incorrect. So that's why it is not. That's why in this way we have focused on the security against tag inconsistency anomaly. So we have executed this thing in a realistic scenario where we have used client and server as a client and server machines, and we executed our approach along with some existing approaches. And we have compared our approach with existing state of the arts, and we have found that majority of existing approaches were using message locked encryption, which is vulnerable to this dictionary attacks, or they are using some additional key servers. Now, user is already paying for the storage. User is already paying for cloud servers, and assuming that a user is supposed to have additional key server is not economically efficient assumption. So that's why we are having means we are not using any additional server, but those we have found that those state of the art approaches which are using this which are focusing on this dictionary attack, they are using additional server, and as they are using additional server it is not economically efficient approach. So in this way we have found that either MLE or additional server is there in existing approaches. So I think we are at the end of the confidentiality approach, and we have focused on dictionary attacks and tag inconsistency anomaly. So I think we are not able to go through this proof of ownership approach, but let me quickly give the overview of the proof of ownership. In deduplication, when just think in terms of a subsequent upload, a file is already available and a client is saying that I have file, just give me access. So in that case, how server will trust that client? Means client is having deduplication tag that is just a small piece of information that is typically hash value, and with help of this hash value he is trying to prove, means client is trying to prove that he is having file. So how server will be able to trust that client? So there are many we can say there are many incidents happen where just a small piece of information, as sir has discussed that how realistic scenarios are there in deduplication attacks. So as I have uh, discussed that 2014 around, I'm not confirm about that year, but around 2014 a dark cloud, means some paper's name is the dark cloud, which is saying that Dropbox has faced this kind of issue where some small information is leaked, which are considered as a proxy or to the entire file. So consider a scenario where a user is communicating, means user is able, that malicious user is able to get this small piece of information. So this small piece of using this small piece of information, server, he or she will go to the server and say that I have file and give me the access. So in this way, adversary will able to get the access using this uh, hash of the file only. So for that, it may possible that content distribution attack, content distribution network is uh, executed. So for that, what adversary will do? Means adversary will misuse this cloud services. How adversary will misuse cloud services? He will simply upload the file and shares the tag of file on the public domain, like some website or like that. So whoever wants to access this file, he or she will just download that thing from the website, and he or she will get access to the file just by saying that I have a file. So this kind of scenarios are there. Means, for example, if you are saying that you are having some book and you are just saying that I have this, I mean, you are just showing the title page and you are saying that I have a complete book. So how can I trust you? So what I will do for you? So what I will do, I will ask some questions that say that what is there in page number 5, say that what is in page number 10. So this concept that asking the questions is called proof of ownership. That you are asking some questions, you are asking some challenges based on the file. And if you are having that file, then only you can answer the question. So that concept is called proof of ownership, where challenge is generated from the file and responder is supposed to answer the challenges. If he or she is able to answer the challenges correctly, then server will allow access to him. So this concept is called proof of ownership. Now, we have already talked about the storage cost and communication cost. So if this proof of ownership will take much time or much processing at the client side or the server side, then this proof of ownership will be useless for us. So for that, uh, to devise some kind of proof of ownership approaches which are efficient as well as secure is open research problem for us. So I think time is about to complete. So if anyone is having any question, otherwise I will directly go to the future direction, which will be helpful for us to see the future in deduplication.
Okay, yes, participants are requested to put any question in the chat box if you have any question, or you can ask directly. Right, so it will clarify your doubts.
So today we have discussed two things. First thing is that how we can be efficient in terms of storage, and second thing is how we can be secure even if we are efficient. Along with we are efficient. So there are much more points available for research in this deduplication area. First is that traffic obfuscation with lower communication overhead. That means traffic obfuscation. That means a deduplication can be used as a side channel. Adversary, what adversary will do, as we have done, that traffic obfuscation. That means I will upload the file and I will check this file is available or not. For that, I will I will analyze the traffic. So obfuscation of traffic will make adversary confused that this file actually is actually available or not. So traffic obfuscation with lower communication overhead means these are the future direction research direction in deduplication area. Key management issue means as we have discussed about file level key management. If we are think in terms of block level key management, each block is having 256-bit key. If we are dividing file into 512-bit blocks, then f divided by 512 into 256, that means f divided by 2. That much key storage space is required at client side. So key management issue is open research problem for us to reduce the storage cost, means key storage cost at the client side, because client will not reveal this key at any point with anyone. तो क्लाइंट के साइड में की रखने के लिए वहां पे स्टोरेज कॉस्ट भी कम रखना है, तो उसके लिए टू रिड्यूस दिस key storage overhead, this devising a efficient key management approach is a research problem. Handling ownership revocation, this is the biggest issue in this deduplication scenario, where after revoking the ownership, if adversary or if that revoked user will share his or her encryption key, then it will affect the security of data which is concerned with multiple users. अगर किसी को निकाल दिया और वो की बाहर जाके बेच दिया, तो in that case it will affect many people. So ownership revocation in terms of forward and backward security. Forward security, that means you have not uploaded the file, still you are able to use that file. And in terms of revocation, it is backward security. After leaving the after getting revoked from the file access, you are still able to access the file anyhow. So that is also a big research problem for us. And transparent deduplication means, generally, as sir has raised the question that how this cloud servers are doing deduplication. So cloud servers, we all know that, and many people advocate that cloud servers are doing deduplication, but they are not giving any advantage to us. अगर मैंने और आपने एक ही फाइल अपलोड करी तो मेरे और आपके लिए सेम चार्ज रहेगा, and that cloud server is storing only single copy. So for storing the single copy, the cloud server is charging both of us. So that is also an important research problem for us. Transparent deduplication for cloud computing system. So I'm ending with this future direction. If anyone is having any doubt, then he or she can ask.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an informative session on deduplication and how deduplication helps in efficient cloud storage services. Participants are requested to post any question if they have, or directly they can ask the questions to the sir. Okay, I think there are no questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Kindly share your presentation with us, or you can directly put this presentation in the chat box.
Okay.
Upload the presentation in the chat box so that participant can get the help from that.
Okay.
And thank you so much, sir, for such a nice and informative session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the end of today's third session. Participants, you will meet again tomorrow sharp at 10 a.m. Kindly join the meeting on time so that we can get the maximum benefit, and you all are requested to be interactive while the session is going on. Anytime you can ask your questions and clear your doubts. You can also put your questions in the chat box. So we'll meet again. Have a nice day. Thank you all. Also, there will be the link will be shared with you all in the WhatsApp group for the test. So kindly attempt the test on time. I think the time is up to 8 or 9 p.m. today only. So attend the test by today only. Thank you so much.